Welcome, parents, to the next in our series of webinars organized by the Heritage Schools on a topic which is not far from our minds these days and needs to be addressed. For the last few years, severe and hazardous levels of the air quality index have become a given at this time of the year. Through this webinar, we hope to create more awareness about some of the solutions that are being worked on and implemented by proactive citizens and organizations. Our panelist for this evening is Mr. Ashish Shah, who is an environmentalist and has been a sustainability expert and educator since 1995.
Good evening, parents. I will help you understand that what is air quality, first of all, to begin with, and what can we do as citizens of Delhi and NCR to safeguard ourselves from the ill effects of air pollution. So, first of all, we need to know. So, air actually to imagine is difficult because we can't see it. Human sense of understanding, sense of imagination is very vision based. It is very difficult to imagine something which is not visible. So I think the best words that I can put air pollution, air in context would be that if you look at air is all around us, and it is, you can imagine it to be a kind of ocean. It's kind of an ocean of material which is very loosely arranged. So there are different constituents to this ocean, which are of course materials like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and small other trace gases are there. So air basically carries a signature of whatever happens on our planet. Whatever we'll do, will air will register that particular action that we take. The air that we breathe today, it was not produced today. It was in fact engineered by life processes over billions of years. We can say that air partially is a renewable resource. You know, Materials like carbon dioxide, materials like oxygen will keep coming in and going out of this ecosystem. So it keeps renewing itself in the way the ecosystem works. So air is a renewable resource, if you look at it that way. So for us, actually, if you look at it, breathing defines life and death, like I told you. Then if we were to imagine air and its pollutants, we basically have, our imagination is very side-based, like I told you. So if we have to imagine the volume of air, there are trillions upon trillions of atoms atoms and molecules of different materials floating around us. Any substance in air that harms life processes, we call that as a pollutant. We have to remember this, that there are pollutants are categorized in different sizes. So we call them particulate matter. Whatever floats in form of air around us has different sizes. So this particulate matter is categorized into PM, which stands for particulate matter, and these are the sizes: 10, then 2.5, then PM1. So this is how air quality index is calculated. This might appear to be very sciencey, but it is very simple, that we measure pollutants that are there in the air, those four major ones, which we saw in the slide, which are basically carbon dioxide, and which is oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen, and ground level ozone. So we measure these over different intervals of time. So some pollutants we measure on averages of 8 hours, some we measure for 24 hours, and some for different time durations. So when we are creating one index, by joining all these different time interval quantities, we have to use a little math to average out the concentration over the general 24-hour mean. Indian AQI, if you look at the Indian AQI, it out at the outset states that Indians are more they have higher tolerance to bad quality air. So we do better when the air quality is bad in comparison to, say, people from US or people from Europe or people from the developed world. Now, if you look at this AQI, you will see that these colors basically indicate how healthy the air is, starting with green, which is good, to say the dark, deep maroon, which is the worst. But when a number appears That AQI today is, say, in this particular slide, you see that semicircle on the top which says the AQI is 431 and it is severe. But if you look at the AQI needs, if to understand what we need to do to protect ourselves, we need to look deeper into what this AQI means. So AQI basically is a mean of different pollutants that we measure over different time intervals. So different pollutants have different uh, potential of harming our health. Now, once we understand this, what can we as people do to protect ourselves, to safeguard ourselves from the ill effects of the worsening air quality? So the first option that we have is that we leave these large cities, whosoever has the option, and move to safer places where the AQI is better. But this is a very difficult, what you call, step to take for most of us, because our lives and our livelihoods are connected to the cities. So it is very difficult to leave and go. Then, of course, like conscious citizens, if we can take steps to choose greener ways of life, like use public transport as far as possible, burn as less as possible through automobiles, through different other means that we use in our homes. Buying household goods also, which are less in terms of impact on environment, that also will help air quality indirectly. And the next very direct thing we can do is that we can buy air purifiers. So at least when we install an air purifier in our house, the air in our rooms or in our home will remain safe. So we can stay in the house most of the times when the air quality is severe, and we can treat the air inside our homes. So this is another option. Then we can, of course, pressurize the government to install large scale purifying equipment at city level, so that there is flexibility of moving out and the air outside also is treated and is not very bad. This is a more expensive large scale solution, which with time will come, of course, but it will take time in our case. Then another is that we keep wearing masks whenever the air quality becomes severe. We stop exercising, we stay indoors. These are the options that we have to physically take. Now, if you look at safeguarding against air pollution, if you look at the other side, where steps you can take to change the air that is there in the inside the room, of course, you can, the best possible thing is, remember that air pollution is affected by temperature and it is affected by pressure. So what we can do is that we can monitor, we can change these by installing installing different things in our house and taking different steps. So we can increase the flow of air in our house with air purifiers, fans, exhaust fans, indoor plants. Stay indoors when the air outside is of poor extreme quality. If you have to move outside, then wear a mask. Do not exercise, of course, when the air quality is severe or it is poor. Maintain temperature and humidity in your house naturally or artificially, whatever works well for you. Use greenest means of mobility that are available to you, cycle or walk for chores involving short distances, so that you have less air pollution. Like I told you earlier, most of the impact that humans are having on air quality is primarily because of burning, and primarily because of creating surfaces which are not covered with biomass. So that is why the dust flies around. So many of you must have visited abroad cities, where things are very landscape and no part of earth is left open for the dust to fly. So if you go to Singapore, either it is artificially paved or there is something green there. So like that, if you plan, then that also is an option, but it is an expensive option. So basically, if you're when so in heritage school, all of you are heritage parents or would-be heritage parents. I am glad to tell you that heritage has taken very good steps to maintain the air quality inside the classrooms. So I have personally seen that when the AQI outside is in the severe category, the AQI in the classroom is in the green category. So AQI outside is say 400 plus, the AQI inside the classroom is 45 to 70, which is very good. So what are the steps that have been taken by the school to keep the children safe within the classroom? So safe classrooms, first of all, we need to regulate, like I told you, temperature and humidity have a very big impact on the quality of air. So we need to control these two factors to improve the air quality. Then air filtration, of course, of particulate matter that is floating around in the air. So treated fresh air to control CO2. So treated fresh air has to flow inside the classroom, because when children are inside, CO2 is being produced in the classroom. So that CO2 needs to be flushed out and it has to be replaced by fresh air. Then there have to be clear protocols of what teachers, students, and the school community is supposed to do when a particular level of AQI is observed. So staff sensitization and sensitization of the parents and students through regular workshops. These all steps are being taken by the school. So these are the physical systems that the school has installed to ensure that the air quality is good inside the classroom. So air is purified through this system and then rolled out through centralized AC in the classrooms. Benefits of treated fresh air systems help maintain air quality in enclosed spaces, and they save energy also because at the scale that they are operating, the economy is good. So this is the protocol that the school practices. Whenever you have a particular category of AQI, there are particular set of steps that the school takes. So for example, the AQI is orange. It is between 151 and 200. So children are not allowed to go outdoors. No child is to be in the corridors unless absolutely necessary. So with that, I would like to uh,